What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I am your host. I am Caitlin Kenneth Smith, and today's episode of the podcast, we're going to talk all about why your diet isn't your problem. I always like to say the word nutrition because whenever I think of the word diet, I always think of something that's temporary, right? So I always like to talk about nutrition, not your diet, but that's another story. Your nutrition isn't the problem. Your all or nothing mindset is. I've been a coach for over 12 years, and the number one thing that holds people back from achieving their goals, and I can say this without a doubt, is their all or nothing mindset, their all or nothing mentality, that thought that they need to be perfect in order to accomplish their goals. Most people fail not because they don't know what to eat, not because they don't know what workouts to do. There's no lack of knowledge. There is so much knowledge. You could Google literally anything. You can go to ChatGPT and type in, write me a diet plan, write me a nutrition program, write me a training program because I want to lose X amount of weight in X amount of time. And you will literally get exactly what you need. But we still have an obesity epidemic. We still have millions of people in this world who are unhealthy, who are sick, who are not happy with the physique that they have, who are overweight. And it's because of that all or nothing mindset. They let one bad meal turn into a bad day, turn into a bad week, and then they quit entirely. And this episode is going to smash your perfectionist mindset and teach you exactly how to stay consistent even when you mess up. And the biggest takeaway I want you guys to take from this is the people who see results aren't perfect, although they may perceive to be perfect based on what you see through their social media. They are not perfect. They're just consistent. And it's so much more valuable to be consistently good rather than trying to be occasionally great. If you stop quitting every single time you slip up, you'd already be closer to your goals, if not already at your goal. So your diet, your nutrition, that is not the problem. The true reason why you're stuck is because you keep quitting every single time you mess up. That one slice of pizza, that one skipped workout, that one thing is not what ruins your progress. It's the fact that you let that one thing spiral into a full-on binge or a full-on week of starting over on Monday. So today I want to break that cycle for you. Now, this topic matters because most people don't fail because of one bad meal. They fail because of their reaction to it. So I want you guys to learn today how to shift your mindset, drop that all or nothing mentality, drop the perfectionist mindset, and actually stay on track to achieve long-term sustainable results. If you stopped quitting every time you weren't perfect, you'd already be at your goals. I will probably say that multiple times throughout this episode because I want to ingrain it into your brain so that you remember it when you're in that moment. If you stopped quitting every time things weren't perfect, you'd already be at your goal. So why does this all or nothing mentality, why does this mindset kill your results? Because you find yourself in a cycle of self-sabotage. You eat one off the plan meal. For example, maybe you went to work today, you brought your meal prep, you were all ready, you were all good, but then somebody brought lunch, like they catered lunch, they ordered pizza, they got something that you really wanted. So you had that pizza. So you feel guilty. And then that guilt leads to you saying, you know what, screw it, fuck it. I might as well order In-N-Out later. I might as well stop at Chick-fil-A later on the way home because I already messed up. I might as well go get a cookie because I already messed up. So then you delay progress. And then the next day you say, you know what? I'll just start again on Monday. And then that was on Wednesday that you said that. So now Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday turns into an all for nothing, right? You're just eating whatever you want to eat because you're starting on Monday, so you need to get it all in. You think you need to be 100% perfect to make progress, but that's a lie. That's not true. That is the farthest thing for the truth. And this mindset is keeping you stuck because it creates unnecessary stress. and food becomes a battle instead of fuel, right? Food is meant to fuel us. I would be naive to say that it is only fuel because, of course, food is celebration, food is love, it's all of these different things, it's culture, but it doesn't have to be an unnecessary stress that you're constantly battling back and forth with. This mindset also makes your nutrition feel restrictive when it shouldn't feel restrictive. One thing that I always like to teach my clients is addition over restriction. So I'm not telling them that they can't have this, they can't have that, because guess what? If I told my client they can't have a cookie, they want the cookie more. And now all they're thinking about is the cookie. It's kind of like if I told you right now as you're listening to this podcast, hey, don't think about the word pineapple. I bet your ass that you are currently thinking of the word pineapple. So instead of restriction, I focus on addition. We're going to eat more whole foods. We're going to eat more protein, more fiber, more fruits and vegetables, drink more water, get more movement. Because the more you restrict, the more you want that thing, the more you will most likely fall into a binge later. And this mindset keeps you restarting instead of staying consistent. It's kind of like a train that's going down the tracks. Say there were two trains going against each other. That sounds like a really entertaining thing to watch, but let's just say there are two trains going against each other on two separate tracks. One train is going fast, but it's stopping and starting constantly. So it has to go real fast, stop, and then it takes a little bit of time for it to start up again. But then you have this other train that's like going very consistently at a good pace, right? They never stop, but they're not sprinting, but they're going at a really good pace. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare. That person who is being consistent, the train that is going at a consistent pace, is going to crush the other train that's starting and stopping. So you waste time starting and stopping instead of just moving forward. The hard truth that you need to accept is that your results aren't ruined because of one bad meal. Your results are ruined because you let that one moment of imperfection turn into a downward spiral. You let that one thing turn into a whole big thing. So the biggest thing that you need to do here is you need to shift your mindset and focus on progress over perfection. I need to put that on a t-shirt. Real quick before we dive into the next part, if you've been waiting to grab your powerhouse gear, now that we're talking about t-shirts in this episode, this is your chance. The Powerhouse Mentality Spring Cleaning Sale drops this Saturday, March 22nd, and it's the absolute biggest sale we've ever done. So for 5 days only, we're going all out to clear inventory and make space for what's coming next because we have some big plans for 2025. So here's the breakdown. We got March 22nd and 23rd, there's going to be 30% off site-wide. March 24th and 25th, you're going to get an opportunity to buy one and get one free. And then finally, March 27th is 40% off of everything plus a free gift on orders over $100. And get this, the first 25 orders every day are going to get a free Powerhouse Mentality training program called Powerhouse Foundations that I've been working on in the background, and you're going to get it absolutely free before it goes up for sale. So once everything is gone, it's gone for good. We're not restocking the things that we have. So if you've been eyeing anything, don't wait. Head to powerhousementality.com and be ready to grab your gear this weekend. You can go down below in the show notes and you can get on our Powerhouse Mentality Inner Circle email list so you can get notified when the sale goes live, as well as get notified with whenever we have any sort of exclusive drops. So Powerhouse Mentality isn't just clothing. It's not just gear. It's a mindset. All right, let's get back into it and let's keep this fire going so you guys can get some more value. I've heard a lot of coaches and a lot of people on social media talk about something called the 80-20 rule, or you can even think of it how I like to think of it more of like the 90-10 rule. So if 90% of the time you eat in a way that fuels your goals, and then 10% of the time you enjoy life without guilt, you're going to see results. 80-20 too. But I also need you to understand that food or guilt is not an ingredient in food. Guilt is not an ingredient in food. So if every time you eat something that isn't quote unquote healthy or clean, you feel guilt, that's a problem. Your relationship with food needs improvement. And that's a problem that a lot of people face. I don't want you to think of food as good or bad. I want you to think as food as nutrient dense and maybe not as nutrient dense. So if you're 90% of the time eating whole nutrient dense foods, and then 10% of the time you're having a little bit of like treats or like a cookie or a piece of chocolate or something or whatever you want, you're going to see results. So that one slice of pizza, that one cookie that you had, that extra snack, it doesn't ruin anything unless you let it. And the beauty of tracking your macros is that if you're tracking your macros and you fit that little treat into your macros and you still hit your protein goal, you still stay within your calorie allotment for the day, you're going to earn results. Now, I do truly believe that quality is extremely important when it comes to nutrition. But the way that I teach my clients is we focus on quantity with an emphasis on quality. Because you can still overeat quality foods, because quantity is what matters if you're in a fat loss phase. But if you have a fucking crumble cookie, enjoy it and move on. It's not the last decision that defines you, it's the next decision that matters most. So if you had a cookie today because somebody brought crumble cookie into work and you had one, cool. Hit your protein goal today. Continue on with your meals, the way that you structured them. Maybe take away a little bit of carbs and fats to make room for that. Track it. Hold yourself accountable. That's what matters. Your reaction to the crumble cookie is what derails you, not the crumble cookie itself. So one meal does not define you. Think about your body like a bank account. One bad transaction, one oopsies, I probably shouldn't have bought that moment that you had on Amazon doesn't bankrupt you unless you keep overdrafting, unless you keep making dumb decisions. Then eventually you're in debt and now you're struggling, right? So instead of saying screw it after a setback, just get right back into your normal habits immediately. Don't skip a beat. Your body doesn't keep score of every little thing. It responds to the overall pattern, not the one random meal. It's what we do consistently that breeds who we become tomorrow. So I know that a lot of people who are probably listening to this, you deal with this binge-restrict cycle, whether you've dealt with it in the past or you dealing with it now. There are some rules that I want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to this, because there are a lot of things that lead to this. And a lot of it comes to having a poor relationship with food and using it as a coping mechanism rather than food. So rule number 1 is I want you to stop labeling foods as good and bad. The second you make something off limits, your brain craves it more. Just like what I said earlier. If I tell you, hey, you can't have a cookie, guess what you want? A cookie. So instead of saying I can't eat this, say I can eat it anytime. I just choose when it serves my goals. Rule number 2 is get rid of the start over on Monday mindset. What the hell is so special about Monday? There is nothing special about Monday. That's just your excuse to prolong taking action. So if you eat something unplanned, move on immediately. No skipping meals, no punishing yourself with extra workouts. Just get back to normal. And rule number 3, use the next best decision strategy. So if you feel like you messed up, focus on making the next best decision. For example, if you ate fast food for lunch when you didn't plan to, cool. It happened. You can't go back in time, but what you can do is you can make dinner a high protein, nutrient dense meal that fits within your goals. If you had a crumble cookie at work, cool. Drink some water, get back to your normal food. One small reset keeps you moving forward. The people who see results aren't perfect, they're just consistent. So if you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this. Perfection is not the goal, and it should never be the goal, because perfect isn't real. Consistency is, and consistency is what breeds results. So stop quitting every single time you slip up, and you'll start seeing results faster than ever before. I can promise you that. So the next time you feel like you messed up, do not let it spiral. Drop it, move on, and focus on the next best decision. So I want you to screenshot this episode, share it on your social media, tag me at Caitlin Kenna Fitness, and share your biggest takeaway. because I want to know what you guys are learning from these episodes. I want to make sure that you're taking something away that you can apply into your life, because remember, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Apparently, I also need to put that on a t-shirt as well. But remember, final thing, your diet isn't the problem, your mindset is. So fix your mindset and the results will follow. So go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.